Can you pay yourself with the EIDL loan? That's one of the most commonly asked questions I get. Some people say yes, some people say no, some people say you have to do it in a certain way. Today we're going to dive deep into that and we're going to see what CPAs are saying about what you can do with the EIDL money. So stay tuned. Okay, as you guys know, we've been covering the EIDL loan in great extent, very detailed. We actually have done live Q&As, which thank you for everyone who's participated. If you haven't seen that yet, I'm gonna leave a link to that right here where you can check out. Basically, we answered about 50 plus questions. It was awesome. So thank you for everyone who participated. And today I want to actually talk to you about an article I just found. Well, actually, it was a piece that was done by a CPA firm who's actually broken down into further details what you actually can and cannot do with this money. I'll leave a link to that down below in the description section. But what I found in this article or this post that I'm telling you about is something very, very different from what I've been hearing everywhere else. But before we get started with this, let me just tell you about the conversation I just recently had with my CPA. I said to my CPA, I just got approved for the EIDL loan and I've been doing a lot of research, but I just want your blessing on what I can and can't do with that money. This is what he tells me, and this is a full disclaimer before we get started. This is not advice of what you should do. I'm just telling you what my CPA told me and what his thoughts are. He could be 100% completely wrong for all I know, but this is what he's telling me. He's told me that he has actually helped almost 100 people of his clients get the EIDL loan. Of those almost 100 people, the majority of them have received $150,000 from the SBA, and he's completely shocked by this because some of them don't even have enough expenses to spend this money on. If you find yourself being in that position, you're not alone, and don't be scared because he told me the following. He said to me, you're gonna see a humongous default rate on these EIDL loans because these people, their businesses are not going to last. They don't have any business to go back to, but they're getting this money and they're gonna spend it on whatever they possibly can. So I said to him, hey bud, what can I spend this money on? He said, whatever you want. I'm like, wait, but there's a whole bunch of restrictions. You have to follow these guidelines. He said, yeah, but do you understand how many of these loans actually got written and how impossible it's going to be for the SBA to actually keep up with any of the auditing? Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't keep doing what you're doing and be very careful about what you're spending on, because I know I am. I'm going to be very careful on what I spend this money on. But what he said to me was that it's literally impossible for them to audit every one of these loans. And I said, hey, do you think they're gonna audit every 1 in 100? He said, not even. He's like, you don't understand how many loans they have done. So I don't know if they've baked into the numbers that there's gonna be a large percent of these people defaulting on these loans. And if you find that you're in a position to not go back to any business, I strongly recommend that you think about actually returning this money. But what he said to me is that the only people who will probably end up getting audited are the people who go bad on their loans. So if you're not one of them, I don't think you should spend so much time about splitting hairs about what you can and can't do. That's just my personal opinion. I'm personally going to be very careful on what I spend my money with, and I just want to make sure that you guys understand that. But I'm just want to give you all different sides of what people are saying. Now, I'm going to tell you about what this CPA firm has actually stated. What they're stating is what you cannot use the money on. All right, so let's talk about this. Dividends and bonuses. So as you know, you cannot just pay out dividends to a company that's in the red. You can't give out bonuses because why should you be giving out bonuses? Your company's taking a loan for disaster relief. That's pretty obvious. Next thing is disbursements to owners, right? We spoke about this. So disbursements to owners are basically like this. Let's say you're an independent contractor. You didn't have yourself on a W-2 before, and now you're wondering, how can I pay myself because I need to survive? Well, what this CPA firm has said is that you cannot use it for disbursements to owners unless for performance of services. That's a big game changer for many people watching this video. If you are actually doing work for the company that merits you getting paid, they're stating that it's okay. So remember, I left the link down below in the description section. You might want to contact the CPA firm and see if they can help you out with your issues. They're also saying that you cannot pay back any stockholders or give out principal loans to anybody in the company, which is what we've spoken about before. You cannot expand your business, which we've spoken about before as well. You cannot expand your business, your facilities. You can't acquire new fixed assets. Fixed assets, remember guys, fixed assets are vehicles, housing, those types of things, okay? We can't do that. But one of the biggest questions that I keep getting are that, what about if you're spending it on your inventory? Well, that is a very detailed question, and you should ask your CPA about this, because if you say have an auto dealership and you get credit, let's say a 30-day credit on cars, and you can't pay for that 30-day credit because your business is upside down, you're still recovering. Now, that is a bill that you could not pay prior to the pandemic, so I guess in that case it would be okay to pay for these vehicles, but not if you went out and purchased the vehicles to resell. So it's a very gray area. You want to be very careful with that, and especially me, because if it was up to me, I'd take my money and I'd buy real estate with it. Real estate is my inventory, but I'm not going to take that chance. So I think you should be very careful about that as well. Use it on rent, use it on payroll, use it on other things, but be very careful with that. Okay, you cannot use it to repair or replace of any physical damages. This is not good. We've spoken before that it's okay to bring your business back to where it was before, and this may sometimes require you to repair or replace a computer, your lawnmower, whatever kind of business you're in. So there is, every day, I'm telling you, when I look and I do more research, there is different conflicting information all over the place, and I do think that this is going to result in a lot of people being very confused, a lot of people giving this money back. All right, another thing is that we know we can not refinance long-term debt. Long-term debt is anything after 1 year. Paying down your loans, you cannot do that. You can't pay off your loans, but you can make loan payments. So if your loan payments on your vehicle that you use for work, on your rent, on your mortgage for work, all of that can be used, just it cannot be paid down. And you cannot actually use this loan, you can actually use the proceeds of this loan to pay off any other federal agency loan. So be careful with that. So also the other thing that I want to talk to you about here is that you cannot use this money for the payment of any direct federal debt, okay? So you cannot use it for that, including SBA loans. But it says here, except for IRS obligations. This is conflicting with the information we've actually gotten from the SBA, because I have people asking me, can I use it to pay my 2019 taxes? And from what the SBA has told me, they have said, no, you cannot. But here it's stating that you cannot use it for the payment of any part or direct federal debt, including SBA loans, except for IRS obligations. I don't know, go figure. And obviously you cannot use it for relocation. So you can relocate, but you just can't use the funds for your relocation. All right, so be careful with that. In addition, they go on to say that obviously if you get a PPP loan, you have to make sure you don't use the EIDL loan and the PPP loan for the same exact thing. But after talking to my CPA, and this is what my CPA told me, is that you can't use it for the same reasons, but then you can continue to use it for the same things after your PPP loan funds have been exhausted. So the example of that would be if you're using PPP for payroll, and after the 8 weeks you exhausted all the PPP funds, you can then start using your EIDL loan for payroll, because remember, there is no restriction on when you can use your EIDL loan. You can use it at any point in time. So if you want to keep it as just basically a line of credit, a cash reserve, something that you can later on tap into, that's a great idea. He also explained that you can use the EIDL loan to pay for payroll that is in arrears. So let's just say you haven't paid yourself a W-2 in the last 30 days because you couldn't afford to, or you haven't paid your employees because you couldn't afford to, but they've been working because they believe in you and they basically wanted to stay busy. You could actually use it for that too. But during the 8-period week in which the PPP loan takes effect, you cannot use that EIDL loan money for the same purpose of the PPP. So for instance, you cannot pay Tom with the PPP money and then use the EIDL loan money to pay Nancy. You just have to use all of the PPP funds first, and then later on you can switch over to the EIDL loan. So that's one of the questions that I keep getting from a lot of people is, can I pay myself? Can this? And some of the answers that I've gotten in the past from the SBA have been the following. The SBA has told me, if you were not a W-2 employee for your company before, you cannot just put yourself on the books now. Right? If you were not if you were a W-2 employee before, you have to basically match whatever it is that you were getting paid before is what you can get paid now. It's not an increase. You know, you can't get an extra $5 an hour or whatever the case may be. And at the same time, they also mentioned that, let's just say you had 2 employees and one of those employees left your business, and when you try to rehire that person, they refuse to come back. You can actually then take the position of that employee because you're bringing your business back to the level in which it was before with the 2 employees. And then you can pay yourself as much as that person was getting paid before. Now, you also want to be very careful. He mentioned that when you do take the EIDL loan money and you want to use it to pay the lease in your house, because you own the home but you lease a little space for your business, you want to be careful with that, because it could be misconstrued and looked at as that you're trying to intentionally use those funds to pay off your home. So this is something that if you were interested in doing or you were curious about doing, is something you really have to structure with your CPA. You really have to look at the upside and downside, and you might just want to stick to maybe other expenses and maybe like paying some of your fixed debts or using it on payroll. All right, so hopefully that answers some of your questions, and maybe for some of you it'll even make things a little bit more complicated and complex. If you guys would like for me to do another live Q&A session for the EIDL loan, please leave it down below in the comments, and we'll see if we can schedule that for this week. Also, I just want to remind everyone that we are in the process of creating our humongous real estate team. We're in the industry of creating leaders. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description where you can get in touch with me. Also, remember, we're still collecting funds to feed hungry American families. If you're enjoying these videos, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and also share this with a friend. Like always, guys, we will thank you for watching. But you're not done just yet. If you want to learn more about the EIDL loan, the PPP loan, or any stimulus whatsoever, you're going to want to watch this playlist right here.